Hello, and welcome to the Spire Integration Partners Trade Show. My name is Peter Wright, and this is the Spire Assist's presentation of BreezeUDF. First, a little background on me. Here's my latest LinkedIn headshot. I started working at Business Vision in 1993 as a tech support rep. Some of you may know me from those days, although you could be forgiven for not recognizing me. Here's what I looked like in 1993. Ouch. I became a Business Vision partner in 1998 and a Spire partner in 2014. Recently, I launched SpireAssists.com, a website devoted to tools, tips, and tricks for Spire users, along with some software products conceived during almost 30 long and apparently stressful years in this industry. I'm delighted to be able to present to you one of the first such products, BreezeUDF. As always, I must start by asking and answering the question, what is BreezeUDF? The simplest answer is that BreezeUDF is importing UDF data directly from Excel into Spire. Before BreezeUDF, the only way to get this data into Spire was to type it in manually for every record. Or you could learn about ODBC, JSON, SQL, and a few other acronyms. There's no official support for this. You are on your own. Another question you may have. What is a UDF? UDF stands for User Defined Fields. This is a powerful Spire feature allowing you to add your own data elements associated with data records in Spire. Data related to customers, inventory items, orders, invoices, salespeople, just about anything. This data is shown right in the Spire interface, where it can be searched, sorted, filtered, exported, and included in Spire reports. If Spire does not have the feature that you want, you can often use a UDF. So the UDF can start to mean user-definable feature. So why build an application in Excel? Most of the time, the data you want to import is already in Excel, or it's in a system that can output to Excel. 2 words, copy and paste. Copying a column of data into an application is rarely supported. Another 2 words, VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. Excel's tools to assemble and prepare your data are powerful and well documented. And I'll show you an example of this in this presentation. So what advantages does BreezeUDF offer? First, it will generate a customized Excel template with your own UDF fields to enter or paste the data you want to import. Next, you can validate your data against the rules established in Spire with detailed field-by-field results. BreezeUDF will automatically back up your data before every import. It's really helpful to visually compare your proposed import to your current data before you import it, with record-by-record, field-by-field comparison, with the differences highlighted. If you make a mistake, you can restore your data to exactly how it was before any previous import. Finally, you can save or export copies of each import or backup dataset for later review, re-import, or restore. I'd like to present a scenario that represents a great example of where a Spire user may want to use a UDF field. ABC want to tailor their commission structure according to the type of client and even fine-tune that to specific clients. Some customers are a lot more work than other customers. Government customers may be quite profitable, but those RFQs and endless paperwork are time-consuming. Salesperson Barry was originally hired to bring over a big client on which he negotiated his own specific commission rate for that client. ABC is going to accommodate these issues by creating a UDF field in the customer module that can be specific to each client. BreezeUDF is built entirely in Microsoft Excel. First, we have to enter Spire credentials. All security and configuration uses the Spire API. Actual importing of the data uses ODBC. You can control which users are allowed to use BreezeUDF right within the Spire user module. This checkbox must be enabled in the Spire user's profile in this UDF field. There are a few other settings here. Perhaps the most important is where to store your backups. BreezeUDF is going to make these backups automatically. When you log into BreezeUDF, it retrieves a list of companies. You select the company you want to work with and choose Activate. This process reads all the data about the configuration of your UDF columns in Spire into this spreadsheet. This information is brought into the Imports tab. This is a list of all the modules in Spire that you currently have UDF fields assigned to. This is where you start any import by selecting the sheet name of the module you want to import. You don't need to understand all of the data shown here, but you might find it helpful. There's more detail on the UDF Fields tab, and this is every UDF field that you have configured in Spire. BreezeUDF uses this information to perform the import, but it's sometimes helpful to have this data all in one place to view it. You can see the names of your UDF fields and the display names and what type of field it is, etc. Back to the Imports tab. For ABC, we're going to import data into the Customer Billing Address UDF. So I'll click this link. And here is our template for all the columns that we have. I'm going to remove some of these columns because I'm only interested in the commission percent in this example. So let's take a look in Spire at the customer module. In Spire, I've already created a UDF field. And that field is in the billing address under user-defined fields. It's not always obvious to people, but Spire makes a distinction between the UDF associated with a billing address, of which we see those fields here, and a shipping address. And there's also under Accounts Receivable tab, another set of user-defined fields associated with the AR. So for customers, there are 3 different UDF fields available. I'm going to look at the billing address, and let's take a look at UDF properties, and we can see my commission percent field here. So I've specified that it will be a data type percent with 1 decimal place, and I'm going to put a range check. The value has to be between 0 and 25. In the customer module, I've created a custom view with all of the fields I think are relevant to assessing the commission percentage rate for each customer. I've got things like the territory, which we're using for the business type that they are, the salesperson, and some sales and profit information just to make sure that the commission rate we're choosing is in line with the profitability of the client. I'm going to export this data. And open that file. I'll just make this a little prettier. I'm going to add a filter and freeze the top row. So I can sort this list on territory because that's primarily the thing that's going to, for me, for ABC, is going to indicate the base rate that type of customer gets. So I will just put in perhaps a commission rate of 8% for builders. And perhaps 9% for designers. And we'll make fitness centers, they're quite profitable. So we'll say 10%. And now here is Barry's government client. Now he negotiated the best rate we give at 15%. And I'm just going to do this quite quickly and say that all the other types are 5%. But we do have some exceptions. Mary gets special rates on her clients. Mary gets 6.5. So these are the percentages that I'd like to import into Spire. So in order to import, we need to have the customer number. Of course, the import needs to know who it's assigning it to. I'm going to just delete these columns. They were there just for the purposes of making a determination about percentage. So I'm going to copy these values. And I'm going to paste them into BreezeUDF. BreezeUDF is going to validate every single import that we do, but we can take a look at the results of the validation before we do the import by clicking Validate. It appears that everything validated. If we show any errors, there are none. But what kind of errors could there be? Well, we may have a customer here that doesn't exist. So I'll remove the G here. And what if we have a record where the value we're importing is outside the range that we specified was valid for this field? We said 25%. So what happens if we try to bring in 30%? It's validate. And we're being shown with the red highlights exactly where the problems lie. And this column shows us the reason. So let's just fix that. Validate again. And we'll proceed with the import. Okay, jumping over to Spire and hitting refresh. We can see our values here. The system has taken a backup of all of the values in your customer UDFs in this column here. So what I can do is I can do an immediate restore if for some reason I've just discovered that there's a problem. Clicking refresh, they're now restored to 0. But I don't actually want those restored to 0, so I'm going to redo that import. And now we have our data back. So as well as this backup column for an immediate restore, every single import, this backup sheet is automatically saved with the date. And so you can import that backup and re-import or restore. A really useful feature is the ability to compare an import sheet to the actual data and look for the differences. So if I, for example, had some different percentages in here, let's just change a few of these values randomly. And I'm going to use the compare feature to compare the data in this sheet to the actual data that's in Spire. And we can see we have some differences. And the differences are highlighted in yellow. So if I want to just look at those differences, filter by color, there they are. These are the rows that I changed. I'm going to close this comparison. So now we're able to run a commission report. I've created a commission view here in the sales history module. And I'm going to run April's commission report. Here's my commission report. I will preview. And we can see the report is using the appropriate commission rate for every customer. This report is broken down by customer with a total for salesperson. So Barry's commission is here. So life is wonderful, right? We've got our commission report. But there are a couple of problems. When rates for commissions change in the future, if they just change one by one, then I'm probably quite happy to just modify them without going through a whole import. But let's say that I want to reassess my commissions completely. So I'm going to export these commission rates again. And I'd just like to make sure that the profitability of the customer justifies the commission rate. So let's just insert a column here. And I'm going to look at last year, and I'm going to take the last year's sales, gross profit divided by the sales. This will be a percentage rate or percentage of profit margin. And I will format that as a %. And I'm going to sort by smallest to largest. And during this process, what I notice is that Barry here, with his stellar client, this is one of the least profitable clients that we have, and he's negotiated this fantastic rate with us. So we can see that Barry's rate is going to need to change. Rather than do an import, I'm just going to modify Barry's rate. So that next month, when we run May's report, it's going to use 10% for Barry. But what if we wanted to rerun April's report? If we rerun April's report, I think you know what we're going to see. This number for Barry has changed because this report is using the current rate. And this is a problem that all databases have to deal with at some form or another. We need really to be capturing the percentage rate that was valid at the time the sale was made. Spire does this in many places. If we go into sales orders, when you add a sales order, it brings in the salesperson who is current at the time. And that gets saved forever against the invoice. So even if that customer changes salesperson in the future, that sale will always be attributed to Barry. But our UDF fields, being associated with the current customer profile, don't work that way. There's also another problem. The policy at ABC is that if a customer returns a product, perhaps in the next month, then the salesperson loses the commission on that sale. But what's going to happen is that return in May is going to record a 10% commission reduction for Barry. Now, Barry's a smart guy. He understands this. He knows his commission rate is going down next month. If he can make a big sale this month at 15% commission, and if his customer were to return the product next month, the commission would be clawed back at only 10%. So what we really need is we need the percentage commission rate to be associated with the invoice and not the customer. Then when the customer invoice is credited, it retains the commission percentage rate it had when it was invoiced. Now we can do so by adding a UDF field to the sales orders, and hence the invoices. We'll just go into any sales order, go to user-defined fields, go to UDF properties, and that's what this field is going to be used for. It's set up exactly the same way as the customer module. So the question becomes, how do we get that data in there every month? Well, we use BreezeUDF. So each month when the commission is calculated, before doing so, we're going to update all of those invoice records with the salesperson's commission right now, and it will be forever stored there. So here is my sales history commission view, and I'm going to add the new commission percent UDF field to this output. And I'm going to export it. So here is our exported sheet. So what we need to do is populate this column with the percentage based on the customer. Well, that's actually quite straightforward. I'm going to utilize the spreadsheet with the percentages in for each customer. Here is that spreadsheet. I find this easiest to do when they're in the same sheet. So I'm going to export this tab and move it to the sales commission spreadsheet. I'm going to use the XLOOKUP function to retrieve the value of the customer's percentage rate from a list of customers and rates and put it into this tab, which is the list of invoices. So here's my formula. I'm going to say that it equals XLOOKUP. And first I select the cell that is going to be used for the lookup. So we're going to do the lookup based on the customer. And the second thing we select is where we're going to look it up from. So that's from the other tab, and that is the customer column. And the third parameter is the result column, what's going to be returned, and that's going to be returned values from this column. So that retrieves my percentage, and I'm just going to double click and fill. So now I have for every invoice number the commission percentage based on the customer, and I'm going to import that back into Spire using BreezeUDF. I'm just going to copy this column, and I'm going to insert it here. And I'm going to use insert values. So now we have the column with the percentage commission rates here, so that I'm able to select just those two columns and copy them. To start this import, I'm going to go back to the Imports tab of BreezeUDF and select Invoices. I'm going to remove the extra columns that I don't need. And I'm going to paste those into here. And I'm going to press Import. It's going to do a backup. It's going to validate. And the import is complete. Now let's jump to Spire and refresh my view. And there, the commission percentages are now permanently recorded against the invoice. If that invoice is reversed, it's going to retain that percentage. I'd just like to demonstrate that. I'm going to search for that April invoice from our salesperson, Barry. And we can see that it was updated with the 15%, which was the April rate. Now we're in May. When we create a reversal, and we look at the user-defined field, the reversing invoice is going to have a commission amount the same as the original, even though the commission rate in the customer profile is 10. When we come to May's report, the value for the percentage on that invoice will already be populated. So the procedure monthly when doing the import would be to ignore invoices that already have a commission percentage populated. We are going to need a new report, of course. Rather than the commission report using the customer UDF, we're going to use the commission report with the invoice UDF. And it's going to correctly use 15%. Well, I've used up all my available time, but thank you for watching. Please visit my booth with any questions and check out spireassists.com.